Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Johhny Fisher will headline against Andriy Rudenko on the 28th of September at the Copper Box in London, or the Copper Bosh as Johhny Fisher likes to say. So this fight had been confirmed, and you can see here on screen 3 weeks ago, to be a support fight to the Dalton Smith-Fernandez fight, which was going to be in Sheffield. So that fight is now off. You've got Fisher elevated to the main event, and they've changed the venue in the city. So Fisher-Rudenko in London, and probably Fisher elevated because he sells a lot of tickets. Very popular, obviously brings a lot of fans from the outset of his career, and only getting more popular with the double act that he does with his father on social media. So they are growing in popularity and doing tours all over the show. But his in-ring job is the one that we're focused on for this video. So you can see here, this is the press release that was put out. So headlining this one here, I'll just go to the comment that he's made, and then onto a few thoughts about the fight, because obviously another headliner, another big event for Fisher. He's getting some seasoning, and it's getting to the stage in his career where he'll need to take bigger steps up. So he says the Copper Bosh Arena is going to be jumping again on September 28. We can always rely on the Bull Army to take over East London as I take the next step in my career. Andriy Rudenko will be my toughest test to date. Proven to be a warrior at the elite level, he will test my mettle. I'm ready. Well, Rudenko has been far from elite level in recent years. At this stage of his career, Andriy Rudenko is an out-and-out journeyman, 40 years old, Ukrainian, and he was last seen against Seaman Pakimov getting a stoppage. But in recent years, he's had stoppage losses to Jared Anderson. That was in 2023. You have Vladislav Serenko, who's just signed on to Frank Warren, did a video on that, 6-round stoppage. So one of the things that has always been in Rudenko's arsenal is his durability. But let's face it, he's been on the slide. He's now 40 years old. Hard to know what we'll get with this version of Rudenko. I'm sure this will go a few rounds at least. And let's face it, Johhny Fisher needs the rounds. I mean, this is a Rudenko that is far removed from facing Zhang Jilei and Agit Kabayel, in 2019 respectively. That version at 34 years old is a very different beast to the guy that we see in front of us now. If this goes, 4 or 5 rounds, I think that's a win for Johhny Fisher. At this stage of his career, you can see here 12-0 with 11 stoppages, coming off what I would say is the best win of his career in terms of profile. Beating Alan Babbage in a round. Babbage, a blown-up cruiserweight, who obviously in recent years from the pandemic, the Eddie Hearn's back garden shows, had a bit of profile. But he had been rolled in the Bridgerweight title, some time ago, inside a round as well. So it wasn't surprising to a lot of us that he was going to get worked over here by Johhny Fisher. It was just Fisher did it pretty emphatically. So if he could do something of a number that he did on Babbage onto Rudenko, I think it would be impressive to some extent, despite Rudenko's, obviously he's pretty late in the day in his career. But Fisher, he's been on a decent run of late in terms of some of the fights they've put him in with. They've made him look good, get a little bit from it. The Harry Armstrong fight was good because it gave him some rounds. Had a stoppage against Dimitri Bizas, another first-round stoppage. So hopefully you have Rudenko pushing him a little bit, because Johhny Fisher at 25 years old, improving skill set, and with Matchroom behind him, trying to build him into a star that can do bigger venues and have bigger fights at different arenas. Copper Bosh at this stage of his career is perfect. But they have visions of him going much higher, facing better opposition, and going much further in the heavyweight division. Whether he can do that remains to be seen, but these are some of the seasoning fights that he does need. Some people may say he should be in a little bit tougher, but at 25 years old, is there really any rush? If this sells out and he's able to not get away with this level of opponent, but you know what I mean. As a headliner, you might say this is a little bit weak for a headline event, and hence he was originally on a different card with this opponent as a support fight. Obviously, with that Smith-Fernandez fight not happening, they've had to sort of rejig, and they've made Fisher, because he's a big ticket seller, popular, and a good fighter, made him the main event. So making the best of a bad situation, as it were. So I think he can get something from this. It'll be interesting to sort of see how he approaches this, because I don't think he can just steamroll Andriy Rudenko. He might have a little go, but I mean, we've seen from Rudenko in fights like the Kabayel one, can be a bit soft to the body. Jared Anderson was really working him over as well. So will we see a bit more of a body attack from Johhny Fisher? Will he be a bit more patient and really sort of pump the jab, look for openings, look for counters when they present themselves? Is he going to get something more than just to sort of, rock him, sock him, take him out of there in 30 seconds? Because at the end of the day, he's going to need the experience of really trying to break down a fighter over rounds, because at a certain level, he's not going to bang guys out. I think Fisher's got good power, but it doesn't look like it's that sort of just turn your lights out power. Against a certain level of opposition, we've seen plenty of fighters over time where they've been able to do a number on certain fighters, but that's because they're at a certain level and, you hit them hard a couple of times, they fall over. Rudenko hopefully will offer a little bit more resistance on that front, even at 40 years old. So I don't mind the matchmaking for now. Some people may not be too happy with it being a headliner, but I guess it is what it is. But a couple of different fights on there, including a world title fight between Terry Harper and Rhiannon Dixon. Peter McGrail also on that card, and a few other guys I haven't seen so much of. But yeah, it kind of feels almost like a next-gen card to some extent. So what do you make of this fight? What do you make of Rudenko giving Johhny Fisher some rounds and pushing him a little bit harder than maybe he has been by some other guys? He is wily, he's a veteran, he's got a few tricks, but I think, he will be well beaten at some point, probably by stoppage, maybe round 4, round 5. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.